When I left my relationship, my marriage, which is actually the central focus of how I begin to transform my life, I figured that most times we usually make a mistake of how healing truly happens. And we feel because we are stepping out of something that does not add to our growth, we feel that is the only decision we're supposed to be taking. But the reality is that there is more to that. There is more to it. When you step out of something that is not good for you, that is only the very first step that it requires. And the reality is that that step you are taking, it is just a physical step. It needs the inner work. Now you just say to yourself, I am done with this guy. Then you leave his house. And when you get to your place, you started thinking about him. You couldn't control how you were feeling. You couldn't contain the pain. And you had so much going on within your head. And the next morning, you had to return. The reason is because your mind is not aligned to that decision. You are doing the outer work, but you are not actually doing the inner work. And that's why I titled this video, The Real Process of Emotional and Inner Recovery. The beauty of life is that when you decide to walk away from something, you are saying no to something that is not good for you. But we often make the mistake of not giving it the time it requires for what is best for us to get to us. When we say no to something that is not good for us, we're not going to be seeing what is best for us at that instant, at that point in time, because we need to go through the sensation of feeling and wallowing in what has happened. And after we are able to go through the process of feeling what has happened, then we begin to attract the thing that is best for us. And during that time, our inner reprogramming begins to come in place. Our subconscious mind and our conscious mind begins to align with the kind of person we actually want to become. Everyone talks about healing, but very few people talk about what it actually feels like. Healing is not something you just wake up and decide that, oh, I want to heal. There are certain steps you need to put in place consciously, subconsciously, because one way or the other, these two things are the things that are directing and controlling your reality. But when you don't keep some certain things in check, you realize that what you feel you have let go of is still coming back to you, not even the way it used to be, but even more harder and difficult than the way it used to be. The reality is that sometimes when we decide to do something, we need to do the inner work to match up to our actions. Sum total, it begins to reflect on our identity. In this video, we're going to be walking through the healing process, how healing truly happens, and what healing truly means, because there are certain things we need to understand when we are going through pain and we are not seeing any changes yet. Sometimes you feel like I've gone through this painful process, I've been able to, decide that I'm not doing anything, I'm not attaching myself to this person again. But one way or the other, our life is still reflecting that thing we think we have left. So it is because there are some things we need to understand about transformation that we have not actually understood. How healing truly happens and what healing truly means. The first one about what healing truly means is that healing is not the absence of pain, it is the transformation of pain. When you are healing, it is not that you're not going to be feeling the pain. And I think I did tell myself before a couple of times that I don't want to feel this pain anymore. No, you will feel the pain because your subconscious mind will remind you of what feels familiar. Obviously, there is no way I am going to be meeting somebody that looks like my ex-husband and my mind will not tap into what my ex-husband looks like. I will remember. There is no way I would get to my workplace and say the way my boss treated me. And I'm saying almost the same thing in my new workplace, and you think I will forget. I will remember the pain. But the reality about healing is that it is the transformation of pain. You don't react to the pain anymore. You only respond to it by acknowledging that I was once here, but I am not here anymore. That is just a safe spot you need to give yourself. You will feel the pain. When something that is familiar comes to your life, you remember what has happened before. But you are not remembering from the point of you wallowing in that thought. You're remembering because you are acknowledging that you once belonged here and you don't belong here anymore. What have you been able to turn your pain into? Do you still keep remembering things? Find you remember, then what do you do with those things? Is it because a man broke your heart, you decided that you're not going to be with any man for the rest of your life? Or because you failed in a drop shipping business, or you failed in a particular business, and you feel that that business is just the worst, you would never invest. Don't you know that that business you feel that people are actually earning millions of naira and living their dream life in the same business? Because it does not work for you, does not mean it will not work for others. But we need to understand that healing is not the absence of pain, but what you are able to turn that pain into. And one thing I love about my life that I keep thanking Allah for is that the one of the reason why I am here, one of the reason that I've been able to get to this point is understanding that what has happened to me before is truly an opportunity for me to become better. And the second truth about healing, what healing truly means is that it is not about forgetting what happened. It is about detaching your identity from it. And I think I mentioned this in my first point. It is not that you are forgetting everything that has happened. Obviously, when I look at my children, I still remember the days that I would reach out to their father, he would choose not to reply, or the days that he had to beat me in the presence, or the day he addressed me in a manner I do not like, or the decisions I had to take because of him that did not eventually work out, or the delay I had in terms of my career that I had to let go because of him. But do you know when healing truly comes in? Is that you don't forget what happened because obviously you won't forget because one way you're still going to remember and something will still draw your attention to it. But I have detached my identity from it. I have detached my being from it. I understand I could not get certificates because at a point in time it told me to leave my education to focus on the family. I thought I was actually doing the right thing. But I realized that if he was not actually there to brainwash me to take that decision, maybe somebody else would have. Maybe life itself would have forced me to take that decision. Maybe I wouldn't even be in a sane mind to go through that in the first place. And because of that, I try to brainwash myself to understand that he was there because the situation, the universe itself, programmed him to be there. If he was not there, somebody else would have, or life itself would have pushed me to take those decisions. So, because of that, I am not going to keep dwelling on the fact that he decided that I should do this. I am going to attribute it to the fact that my life has actually made a turn by taking this decision. And because of that, that would not be my final destination. There are so many women out there that have their career in place, that have so many things about their life in check, based on the fact that they got married and they are able to have a peaceful relationship. But I don't have that life. So because I don't have that life, I am going to be building the life I am actually intentional about. And when you look at it properly, the things you don't have now, you don't actually need them for your growth at this point in time. Sometimes we don't actually take a deeper look at situations. Those things we feel we really want so bad that we don't have now. When you take a look at it, you don't actually need those things now. You might be thinking they are affecting you. That is only your brain trying to look for safe spots to always attribute whatever is happening to you to. But that does not mean that thing you don't have now, you don't actually need them now because you are living without them anyways. A day at a time, you are living without those things anyways. So healing is not just about forgetting what happened, but what has happened, detach yourself from it. Give yourself a new story from it. Give yourself a new lifestyle outside of that thing. And healing happens. What once broke you no longer controls you. I remember very well when my ex-husband would call once in a while and start giving me notions. He would start faulting me that it's because I did this. That was why he had to do this. Because I left, he had to get married to somebody else. He had to go through this, a lot of things like that. And I always feel so bad that I allowed that thing to control me. In fact, when I wanted to decide that I want to do something, I'll be thinking, okay, what if he calls again and asks me this question? What am I going to say? And I figured it was actually controlling me. You've gone through something. What are those decisions you're making? That you're making out of the fact that you are thinking about someone that has caused you pain or someone that once existed in your life that is not there anymore. If you still keep taking decision based on what somebody else will say or based on what has happened to you before, you are not healing and transformation is not happening yet. And the next thing is that sometimes when you think about a painful memory without that sharp emotional pain, then that is growth. Henceforth, when I think about my ex-husband, my relationship, my marriage thing, and when I'm thinking about those things, there is this settlement within me that I just realized that, wow, that used to be me, but that's not me anymore. I don't have that sharp intensity. I don't have that sharp control. I don't have that sharp urge. I don't have that intense feeling as if I'm missing out. Then I told myself, Nina, you are actually becoming better. And that is when healing actually happened. And that is growth. And the second notion we're going to be talking about healing is the need of quick healing. You see, healing is not linear. And I think I talked about this in my previous video. Healing is not linear. You might be thinking for month one, you have everything figured out, you're already doing fine. You think you're forgotten about him, or you think what has happened then, you are doing fine. And after a month or two, or even 6 months, something just pop up. Maybe you're trying to fix something on your phone, or you are trying to clear your closet, or you're trying to relocate, or you're trying to get a new business, or you're trying to make somebody different, and something just happened again. Boom, take you back to where you're coming from. It might even be a very funny situation being a single mother and you feel you've met somebody that understands you perfectly, and the person just shows the same attributes of your ex-husband or where you are coming from. That does not mean you are not healing. It shows that you are only going through another phase of healing. That is for you to totally acknowledge the situation and pivot again from there. Because growth is not linear. So healing is also not linear. Some days you feel strong, some days you feel weak again. And I can remember I have actually recorded this video multiple times. The first time I recorded, my microphone was not working. The second time, my phone was not responding properly. The third time, I was not feeling fine. The fourth time, I figured the point I'm delivering are not actually intentional enough, and I deleted everything. Trying to record a single video for 4 times until I am here now to record finally. I had to get a new microphone. I had to get my health in check. I had to work on my script. I had to put a lot of things until I am here again. And what I thought I'm going to be doing for just 2 weeks, I'm spending over a month already. But the beauty is that you eventually get to that point you're going. So healing is not linear. Because you've decided to heal before, because you've decided to become better, that does not mean you're not going to be making mistakes. In fact, the mistakes you're going to be making now are going to be so funny that you keep thinking that I thought I have already gone past this. But the more you make the mistake, the clearer you begin to get. And healing is like peeling layers. Just like when you're doing something, either you're peeling a fruit or a veggie or something, the more you peel the layer, the clearer it begins to get and the brighter it begins to look. You begin to understand that as you walk through each stage, each level, you begin to realize that you are beginning to understand more about yourself. You are beginning to get more clarity about yourself. You are beginning to even understand something in a deeper state. And for a while, I eventually understood that there is more to life. And that was how I was able to come up with this topic of this my book, Spinning at the Men or Spinning at the Men. That is sometimes we feel that what is happening to us that is all to it. But we are only looking at it from that angle we are saying, not from the entire picture. So, because we don't have the entire picture, we are bound to walk through each step to take us through the entire picture. But we are only bound to walk through each step at a time. We can't see everything. We can't go through growth, everything at a go. But we need to walk through the step one after the other. As a single mother, I can tell a lot of things has happened to me within the space of 3 years. By 2026, it's going to be 3 years on this journey. And for a year, for every year, there is always a different story, always a new story, always something different that has eventually helped me to get where I am. Through the journey of healing, I was able to understand that growth is not something you would achieve within a year. Ironically, you can actually achieve growth in a year. That is just taking a step away from where you are, and that is also growth. But because we always attribute growth to a massive success, we fail to see the beauty of taking a step at least away from where we used to be. And that is one thing I learned after planning, after analyzing, after mapping out a lot of steps I want to take. I'm thinking within the space of 1 year, I am going to be in this level. I am going to be in this state. I am going to become this person. And do you know what happened? Most of those things I did not achieve. But the things I actually achieved made me understood that this journey takes time. And within the time frame, you see that little shift you have made is also growth itself. And lastly, your healing time is different from the other. And honestly, that's just the beauty. You can't say that the way you are healing is the way somebody else will heal. And you can't also use the healing process of somebody to judge your own. Let's take this very, very simple example to look into. You have a twin. From the very basics, one is a girl, one is a boy. Okay, let's say there are two girls. I can tell you they are not going to be having the same stature. They are not going to be having the same IQ. They are not going to be having the same skin color. They are not going to be having the same eyes. Even if some aspects of their appearance look the same, there are going to be a lot of areas where they are different. Twins born on the same day, lived in the same mother womb, and became to be they are nurtured in the same manner. Differences would definitely prevail. You can't be looking at somebody else's 10 years success story to your own 1 month success story. It won't be the same. You're only looking at the man. What do you think those people have been doing behind? How do you think they have been navigating their life? What are those hidden things they have put in place that you are not seeing? Oh, she got out of a marriage after the space of 2 years and she was able to get back on her feet within 6 months. The kind of family she have, is that what you have? The kind of business, the kind of career, the kind of finance she have, is it what you have? The kind of help she's seeking, is it what you're seeking? And you don't just compare your progress to others, you also don't compare your process to another person. Your journey is unique, and only you can actually walk through that path on your own. Now that we have understood what healing truly means and the means of quick healing, how do we actually heal? The first one is to acknowledge and face your emotion. And I think I've been able to talk about it in a faint manner based on the points I have explained so far. You can't heal what you refuse to heal. Most people suppress their emotion pretending to be fine, and obviously they are not because they are only suppressing what they are going through. You're angry, you are sad, express it. Call a spade a spade. Either you have a friend, you have somebody you can pour out your mind to. Please speak up. It is not because you're operating from the part where somebody wants to judge you. But if people love you so much, either your friend or your close relative, they will understand they only need to listen. They don't need to judge. You're at fault, you are not at fault, you're guilty, you're not guilty. They only need to give you that listening here. I remember there are days that when I sit down in one corner, or maybe when I'm observing my prayer, or I'm actually just saying things to myself, I figure that there are parts of me that I've actually suppressed so long, and because I've suppressed them, they are actually affecting me and I am not actually growing. And because of that, I begin to cry. And I figure that crying is not a sign of weakness. Crying is a way to release your burden emotionally. And because of that, when I cry at a night or at night before I go to bed, when I wake up the next morning, I feel a bit lighter. Trying to suppress that tears, trying to suppress that feeling, trying to suppress that emotion will only trigger you more. Either you have a family, a relative, or children, you might realize that you are actually transferring aggression to them because you have not been able to acknowledge and face your emotion, because you have not been able to name your emotion. Is it anger? Are you scared? Is it sadness? Is it disappointment? I figured I was actually hungry because my ex-husband would choose to get married to another woman after 5 months. I figured I was so scared because I don't know how to give my children life again outside marriage. I figured I was so sad because I had to go through each life on my own each day, trying to look for what they would eat, trying to look for how to get myself back on my feet. And I figured I was so disappointed because education he told me to leave, he went back straight to it just to prove a point that he has his life figured out. And I don't. I figured that when I was able to express myself properly, then I begin to see more clarity. And I begin to, understand and meet myself at that point. You need to express yourself. You don't lie to yourself. When you want to grow, you need to face yourself with the truth. Don't lie to yourself because you are the one experiencing what it feels like to be you. Nobody is coming to live that life for you. Nobody is bound to make you feel better if you don't. Emotional awareness is the foundation of real healing. As for my hunger, I figured that no matter how hungry I get, I am only transferring aggression to my children and myself. And it was actually blindfolding me to see. I was hungry, I was scared, I was sad, I was disappointed. But is that the end to my story? Can't I have a better life? And one thing I reminded myself is that, Nina, one of the reasons why you left the marriage is to have a better life. Now you need to figure out how you can actually have that better life. And that was it. Some things might be looking so small, it might be looking so far away that you can't achieve it. But when you allow yourself to settle, to relax, you realize that most of the things you are looking for are actually within your reach. Only if you allow yourself to see that. You need to journal. You can talk to your friend, you can meet with a coach, a therapist. But for somebody like me, I had to heal on my own. And every single step I have taken is what I am bringing to my screen now. Is what I'm bringing to your screen now. Is one of the reasons why I decided to grow a community, why I decided to create a training, why I decided to write a book. Because every single step I took, though with the use of free resources here and there, I am able to understand that healing, emotional awareness is the foundation of real healing. And you can also cry. It's okay to cry. I cry a lot. In fact, I still cried 2 days ago. And I tell myself that once I cry about something, I don't cry about that thing again. Because once I've cried, I have released that tension. And the second thing is for you to let go of the need for closure. You see, one thing I would keep telling myself that I had to learn the hard way is looking for closure. You see, it is not that we want to accept that what they have done is good, but you're waiting on closure. You're going to wait for a very long time. Because do you know the reality? Most people would not acknowledge that they have made a mistake. And because they don't acknowledge, that is going to be affecting you because you're waiting on something that is not possible. Even when people come to say sorry, that they are guilty, their character, their habit, their lifestyle, their action, does it actually match to that sorry they have mentioned to you? Every time I usually wait, hold on, and expect him to come and at least just acknowledge what you've done. Just tell me you're sorry. I need a closure. Just let us end it. Let me just understand. Just come look for my forgiveness. They won't come because you're only waiting on to that perception you have about them. Not everyone will apologize. Not every situation will make sense. Sometimes you just have to let go without looking back. And that is because you are trying to regain your power. You are trying to regain your power. And your power is what matters most. You have that power within you. You have that strength within you. You don't need to wait an apology because waiting on others to fix your pain will keep you stuck in it. You won't find anyone. And when you see this person, maybe progressing or even living life in a different manner, you'll be feeling pain, feeling hurt. You feel guilty. When I go on social media or when I hear from different people telling me that he has done this, my ex-husband has done that, I keep on imagining and I keep on battling with my emotion and I keep feeling bad. But I figured I was actually stuck in that until I'm able to understand that I need to stop needing closure and I need to stop others deciding what I need to do. Some things you forgive without understanding and you move on because your peace matters more than your pride. We all have that ego, but you need to alter your ego. And the third step is to reconnect with yourself. That past has gone. That part has gone. No? Do you know one secret is that when you feel pain or you're having some emotional pain, that emotional pain is there, right? Put it on one side. That person you would have actually want to become, not based on the fact that you are using what has happened to you as a yardstick. Sometimes we usually have scattered, how will I put this English? Scattered dedication. I don't know how to put that. As regards to something happened to you, and you are now using what has happened to you to create an altered decision. The decision that is not actually coming from you. It is coming as a result of you want to show that person. That is one. Or maybe what has happened to you, you are now able to map out what you could have actually wanted deep down, intentionally, to create another picture of yourself. Those are the two measures I want to explain here. You know, you need to understand that what has happened to you and you holding on to it and you want to show the person, it is a pride. But the fact that you want to become better, it is living from yourself intentionally. And by the time you live for yourself intentionally, you begin to reconnect to that part. After the all of what happened, then I begin to ask myself, who am I really? Pain disconnects us from who we are. That is just reality. We start defining ourselves by what we have lost. Some of us, we keep defining ourselves. I don't have this thing anymore. I don't have a life again. I can't belong to this person again. I can't have the society again. That is because we keep defining ourselves by what we have lost. Because healing is reconnecting with your essence, and it is part of you that existed before the hurt. Before the hurt, I'm somebody that likes to talk. I love to meet with new people. I don't really have friends like that, but I think I like to be in a community whereby I see growth, I see change, I see development, I see transformation. So because of that, I decided to spend some time alone. I asked myself, who am I now when I'm not trying to fix anyone or prove anything to anybody? I've lost that. But for myself, what kind of life can I build within me? What kind of person do I actually want to become? So you do things to nurture your soul, not because of somebody else. That has happened, it has gone, it is only a memory. So what do I do with myself now? Then I figured that, wow, I need to go out there. I need to learn. I need to invest in myself. I need to nurture my kids properly. I need to have a new job. I need to change where I'm living. And I started doing that a step at a time. Do things that nurture your soul. Reading, exploring, visiting, and changing your environment. Reconnect with yourself. What are those things you would have wanted to do? Those jobs, either career or business or lifestyle you would have wanted. The kind of mind you would actually prefer again. Start making a list of everything and reconnect with them gradually. Healing is not finding a new version of yourself. It's returning home to who you've always been. When you look down inside and realize that there are so many things you would have wanted to do. And as one way or the other, you begin to understand the ones that are good for you and the ones that are not actually good for you. And the next thing, which is very, very important, is for you to replace old stories with new meaning. I remember then the stories I do tell myself about pain determine whether I stay broken or not. And that is just the reality for everybody. Instead of saying this experience has ruined me, this man has scattered my existence. I can't even imagine the kind of life I can have outside this person. He's such a bastard. He did this, he did that. A lot of that. Try and change the thing to this experience woke me up. And I talked about this in Rule Breaker Mindset and Affirmation. Instead of looking at what has happened to you as something you don't even ever want to go close to, why don't you rewrite your story? You rewire the way you used to think about this thing. It did not work. And people said a lot of things. I was so stupid. How could I have? Imagine a Muslim lady, a lot of flaps around. But I told myself that I have walked through these paths, not because my life is shattered, but because there is actually something about my life that I need to start paying attention to. And I'm going to keep doing that for as long as it takes. I remember I had a whole booklet on so many things I do tell myself then. And that was because I tried to replace the old story with new meaning. If you don't give yourself a new definition, your mind will continue to be stuck on where it is. And in my training as well, I talked about this in Get Your Life on Track. You need to rewire your belief and also change your inner thinking. Write one painful experience and write one lesson. Instead of you looking at your mistakes as mistakes, turn them into a stepping stone. All the mistakes you feel you have had in the past, now rewrite everything and deduce a lesson you have actually coined out from everything. And the next thing is create a life that matches your healing. And this I can't overemphasize on it. The first step I took when I was actually trying to heal was to leave the environment. Because when I keep seeing people that remind me of where I'm coming from, I understand that I am healing. But sometimes they create a kind of effect that keeps drawing you back emotionally. So because I don't want to keep having that experience, I left my environment. I went to my sister's place for a while. I went in search of a new job. I changed my routine. I started watching transformation videos. I started watching healing videos. I watched podcasts. I watched on YouTube. I downloaded free guides. Your life has to match up to your healing. That change, that growth you were looking for, you need to create a life that matches you. Healing is not only emotional, it needs to also be physical, environmental, behavioral. Because I don't want to get stuck in the same old lifestyle, I started changing my perspective about how I perceive people. Instead of jumping into conclusion with a man, any man that comes to me for relationship or marriage, it is a no. Because I am trying to heal and I need to gain clarity of where I'm coming from. So if I don't gain clarity of where I'm coming from, there is no way I'm going to be coming to this relationship with a new mindset. And I don't want to make the baggage of where I'm coming from to extend into this new relationship. You know, sometimes we are healing, but the life we are actually living does not actually match up to it. You need to set up boundaries. Some things are automatically known. I don't just meet with friends or people. I don't just make friends that does not add up to my group. My Instagram, the pages I follow, they are different. They are feeding to my soul. I don't just follow celebrities or people that will not add to my progress. I don't just download movies. I don't just loiter around. I make sure that the life I am living is intentional and purposeful. Some of us are thinking that our life is not changing, but the reality is that we are not creating a life that matches up to our ideal self. And also, you replace chaos with calmness. And I think I love this. Everyone, I don't just dabble into activity. What am I doing for the next day? I have a whole booklet on my goals for each month, for each day, for each year, 3 years interval. What am I achieving? The house I am living in now, I started planning immediately I left. I want to get accommodation. I want to enroll my kids in school. And maybe I got to the house, I figured that this is not actually where I would have actually preferred to be. But based on my situation and circumstance, this is what I have now. But within the space of 3, 4 years, I should be in this place again. And within that space, what am I working on? How am I working on it? And what is every day of my life saying about those goals I have set for myself? You said you don't want any toxic relationship, but you still keep attracting men that you are always attached to them, either because of money or because of feeling or because of any other thing. Sometimes our life will not change when we don't set boundaries, when we continue to heal in the same environment that broke us. You need to reorganize your daily routine, include rest and quiet time, choose peace over reaction, build new supportive friends, change your community, join channel, join community, let go of people that are not worthy to see the new version of you. Stop waiting and hoping for return that is not promised. You don't continue to live in the environment that has broken you when you think you are actually healing. It's going to be an extension of the point I mentioned earlier, which is healing through action. You can't just think your way out of pain, you act your way out of it. There is one thing I learned about goal setting and achieving, which is the mistakes most of the people make. It is one thing to set your goal, it is another thing to actually achieve it through your actions. You set your goal, is written down, fine. But what exactly are you doing to see that goal come to life? Just take it a step at a time. That thing you don't want to see again, what are those steps you need to take that will take you away from that lifestyle? And movement creates new energy and breaks emotional stagnation. And I figured that the moment I started working, acting, living, deciding, moving, acting based on everything I said, I started seeing changes. And the change is not going to be a massive shift, it's going to be a gradual process. Every small action towards your growth is a declaration that you have chosen life again. And the last thing, which is very important, is self forgiveness and compassion. Like I mentioned, some days are going to be chaos, some days are going to be calm, some days are going to be purposeful, some days are going to be returning you back to where you used to be. But you need to forgive yourself and give yourself compassion because you are human too and you deserve a life too. Even if you have made your mistake, you still deserve a life. Healing truly depends when you forgive yourself for not knowing better. I could have done better, but that is what I know. I acted based on what I know. I acted based on the information that was available to me. I acted based on everything I know before. If I had known better, I could have done better, fine. But everything that has happened to me is based on what has been decreed. And to the best of my knowledge, how I could have reacted, how I could have responded. But at this time, I'm not just going to be reacting, I'm going to be responding based on the fact that I have been there and I don't want to belong there anymore. Forgive yourself for being human, for trusting the wrong person, for choosing the wrong people. You are not entirely at fault. You don't need to keep faulting yourself. And I think that is one thing I talked about as well in my training. That is emotional release. You need to give yourself that release of the tension so you can see better, so you can think better, so you can also become a better version of yourself. And there is this three key thing I usually mention when it comes to growth, transformation, changes, and the likes of them, which is pain will take time. Gradually, you begin to understand that some phases of your life are not actually existing again because you are given it the time it requires. Pain does not live at an onset, it lives after a while. And the second thing is consistency. You see, Whatever you are deciding to do, whatever transformational journey you are deciding to embark on, you need to be consistent. It is not a place you visit once and you feel that is the end to your story. You need to keep working on it consistently, hoping for the best, and don't just keep smiling at the name. Try to have a greater picture of what everything entails. And lastly, there are going to be detours and setbacks. You feel you are actually doing the inner work, but once in a while, you're going to be having checks. You're going to be having relapses. You're going to be having a lot of setbacks. But as you have the detour, as you have the relapse, as you have the setback, you recommit to where you are actually going. Healing is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming peaceful. And every day you understand within yourself that you are striving to be better and you are actually living intentionally. In my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to reprogram your mind for a new life. That is how you can actually change the way you think, the way you feel, the way you live that has actually compound your reality. And if you like content like this, subscribe to the channel and join the community because on weekly basis I make transformational videos like this that will change your life and mine around. Until I see you in my next one. Bye.